Hello, hello. This is a video that I don't think has been uploaded anywhere to YouTube, so I decided to do it myself. This is a comparison between the Xone 96 and the Xone 92. This is more for those of you that may own a Xone 92 and are considering making the switch from the 92 to the 96. So I'm going to go over the differences, the big differences, I should say. And yeah, so we'll get started. First of all, you'll notice that these knobs aren't really quite what you're used to seeing on an Allen & Heath mixer. I got these actually from Cooler Caps. I like them a lot. These knobs, these EQ knobs, are very close together. Excuse me, and the knobs that it comes with as standard, they just take up too much room, and they just really let you get up in there and just, you know what I'm saying, go to town on the thing. So yeah, let's get to it. Kind of small differences. These two mic channels, the fader caps are different. They're still the studio style fader caps, but these ones are more rounded off than these ones. It's very similar, it appears, to what you get in the Play Differently Model 1. So we'll start we'll start at the top right of each mixer, and kind of work our way clockwise. On the 9.6, you've got these two USB cards right here. This is USB card 1, or sound card, excuse me, sound card 1 and sound card 2. They also transmit MIDI data. Up here in the upper right on this mixer, you do not have those, you just have the LED meters. You've got the Mix 1 and Mix 2, same over here, Mix 1 and Mix 2. Those are your main outputs. One is an XLR, the other is a 1/4 inch TRS. This is the booth setup. Excuse me. This is the booth setup on the 9.2. Actually, you know what? Let me show you this. So this is what happens when you turn on a 9.2. Boom! You get that. You get hit with all those lights. Now the 9.6 throws a damn rave. Check this out. Oh, that's pretty good. All right. Anyway, so you got your booth here, right? You've got the mute for the booth, obviously. You've got mono as well if you need that. Now over here on the 9.6, the booth is quite a bit different. You've got your mute. It's a different button. Stereo mono just like before, but you do have these EQs, and I absolutely love that. I record mixes out of the main outputs. And if you've ever downloaded some of my mixes, sometimes, you know, you may think they're a little bright. That's because I like to, you know, I raise up the EQ on the high end, but now I can just do it on the booth and not affect the recording, which is fan-damn-tastic. You've got your Q options over here, post EQ, excuse me, meaning that if you've got it engaged, then the whatever changes you make on the EQ are going to be able to be heard in the headphones. Split Q puts one channel in the left cup, another channel in the other cup. Same over here on the 9.6. I quite frankly, I don't know what the hell these aux 1 and aux 2 are, but they're there. And again, I don't know what they are. Here you've got this is your headphone volume. This is your, this is the headphone volume. This is where you select Q and mix. Same over here, headphone volume, Q mix. As per Allen & Heath, they both go up to 11 because that's just how they do it. Another thing, as you can see here, these two are pretty much like like at the edge of the table. But up here, you can see that the 9.6 it's noticeably larger. Here you've got your mixing section. These filter engage buttons, they're different on the 9.6. I actually prefer the ones on the 9.2 personally. It feels like a softer switch. This one is a longer throw switch as well, whereas this one is kind of a short throw, and it really clicks like big time. It almost sounds cheap compared to this nice quiet thing, but this one actually does engage quieter than this one in terms of the signal, so that's a plus. Also, the illumination is different. You can see the LEDs over here where you really can't. It's much smoother over here. crossfader. This is an a Penny and Giles crossfader. This actually is an Innofader Mini, which a lot of people are really into. I'm not a scratch DJ, so it doesn't really make much of a difference to me. Over here, we have an entirely separate cue section, which is nice. You use this to select your cue, whatever it is you want to put in the headphones. You've got this as your cue master, just like the other one. Volume still goes up to 11, even though it is the secondary one. That's pretty good. Let's go over here to mic/effects return channels. Right away, you've got different cue buttons, whereas over here, you've just got these little buddies. There's no duck for the microphone. On the 9.2, the duck is right there, bam, bam. Over here, that doesn't exist. But you can assign the filters, or the mics to the filters, I should say, which you cannot do over here. So that's a trade-off that I'm okay with making. EQ section is a bit different as well. Well, first of all, look at, so this is the EQ section on the left, right, for the mics. You got a lot more space on the 9.6 than what you get over here. This is even tighter than these ones. Also, the mid is a parametric EQ like the one that's found on the Play Differently Model 1. Whereas over here, you've got your mid-low and mid-high, just like on the regular channels. The channel selectors are actually different. They're kind of little turny things, whereas over here you've got buttons and shit. Also, you've got another pair of mic returns, whereas over here you've got just these two, and that's it. LFO on the 9.2, the low frequency oscillator for the filter, is gone on the 9.6. It's been replaced with a crunch, which is like a distortion effect. Listen, I play drum and bass. I don't really see myself using it a whole lot, but I have used it a couple times. It's cool, I suppose. Queuing is different. Actually, just like on the 9.2, where you can select one at a time, you can do the same thing over here. However, if you press two of the same filters at the same time and hold them until you get a little light show like that, now when you let it go, you can actually have, it's latching is what they call it, where you can have more than one channel selected without having to press them on the same time like you do over here on this one. Same over here, crunch section. The source selectors are the same as the ones over here. Again, on this one, you've got the push buttons. More aesthetic differences. As you can see, the 96 is a lighter color than the 92. Headphone is in the same location, southeast corner of the mixer. These LEDs also illuminate a little bit differently. Let me, hopefully, here we go. So, as you can see, these look a lot different than what these ones are. Let's turn this off and turn it back on. The 9.2, dude, these things are super bright, and you like the center of the LEDs, it's blinding in the light. These ones are a lot smoother. Yeah, this looks a little bit better in my opinion. Outside of that, to me it seems that the headphone section on the 96, the headphone output I should say, seems to be a little stronger than the one on the 92. Also, I do think that this one, for some reason, maybe it's just me, but it sounds that the 96 actually sums records a little bit differently than the 92, and I actually prefer it to my ear. Maybe it's just confirmation bias because I spent a good bit of money on this thing, and I mean, I'm hype about it anyway. It really doesn't matter. Another big difference in this one, you've got selectable curve on the up faders, whereas over here on the 9.2, it just doesn't exist. The crossfader curve is a little different. It's a switch over here versus like a little twisty joint over here. Aside from that, really, I don't know what else to go into. Um, Listen, if you play records, like, these are pretty much the two best mixers out there right now for you. I'm not gonna make a recommendation. They're both fan-damn-tastic. The 92, I've had this mixer for almost 10 years now. It was my first mixer. I absolutely adore this thing, and I don't really see myself ever getting rid of it. But this 9.6, is kind of what's up. Anyway, so if there's something that I didn't cover that you have been wondering, if you own a 9.2 and you're considering a 9.6, feel free to ask in the comments, and I will absolutely answer your questions. Thanks for sticking around, everyone. Bye-bye. Actually, there's a few things that I forgot about that I wanted to mention on the video. The preamps, the phono preamps on the 9.6 are worlds better than the ones on the 9.2. I don't. Perhaps you noticed it in the video earlier, but if you notice where the gain controls are on the phono channels on the 9.2 versus the 9.6. That 9.6, dude, those things are loud for real. I have them kept at about 9 o'clock. And a lot of times I can get into the red when I'm recording, just from having it at that, there. Whereas on the 9.2, I usually had to keep the gains at about 1 o'clock or so when recording to make sure that I had, a hot enough signal. Also, there's no popping. I know I mentioned that the button sounds cheaper on the 96 versus the 92, but I know I actually, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure that I did mention that the 9.6 filter actually engages a lot quieter in terms of the audio signal. The up faders feel tighter on the 9.6 than the ones on the 9.2 ever did. And that's cool. I do appreciate that. I am a mix and blend DJ. So, a little bit of resistance on the up faders is cool with me because that gives me a little bit more resistance to allow for a little bit finer adjustments, excuse me, when I'm in the mix. Going back to the filter and gauge switches, I do prefer, and again, this is something I think I mentioned, but it bears noticing because this is just something that personally just bugs the piss out of me, but I just don't like the filter engagement buttons on the 9.6. They're taller on the 9.2, and I just felt as though it just felt better to me. Anyway, so yeah, that's all the additional stuff that I forgot to cover. Again, if there's something that you there is a difference in the way the filters sound in my use. I think the resonance on the 9.6 is a little bit, I just think it's a more resonant filter, and the 9.2, if you turn this frequency select all the way to the left on the 9.2 filter frequency selection button, or knob, excuse me, that lowest value is 30 hertz, whereas on the 9.6 it says that it's 20 hertz, and there is a little bit of a difference. The speakers that I use are Mackie 824s, and I do have a subwoofer, so there's a little bit of a difference. So yeah, again, you've got that. So yes, now I'm done for real. Bye bye.